There's our rough sizing. Now to grind it off and drill a couple of holes. Now all we do is weld it onto the intake manifold. And there you have it. There's our finished product intake manifold. To mount a Mikuni knockoff onto a 5 horsepower Briggs & Stratton motor. Custom-made manifold requires a custom-made gasket. And all we're doing is using a ball peen hammer here. This one is simple enough. I probably could have just marked it out from the other side with a marker and then cut it out. But it's just as easy to do it this way. And besides, it keeps me in practice, you know, for all those other projects we have to do yet. I probably should have my smaller hammer, and I do have a smaller hammer, but my smaller hammer just happens to be up in the carport where I have been working on the Goofy cart. And speaking of the Goofy cart, I do have the new clutch installed, but because it's a heavier duty clutch, it's going to require some more modifications, such as it's going to require there's the new gasket, just like that. It's going to require a different idler for the chain that comes off of the sprocket, because the sprocket is bigger, as well as the clutch being bigger than the original one was on the Goofy cart. It's bigger in diameter. It's also bigger in thickness. Like that, thickness. So yeah, let me put this on, and we'll be ready to mount. I'll probably got to make a no, I don't need to make a gasket for this, because this has an O-ring on the carburetor itself, so this is all ready to go. So need to make sure we use some Loctite on here. Loctite. We're using Loctite blue. Someday we might want to take it back off again. Slide you over here just a little bit so I got room to get in there myself. I've already cleaned the surfaces on the motor. Let me swing my motor around here a little bit so I can get at it better. Of course, I could have taken the motor right off, but I'm in the mock-up stages still, you know. So I'm trying to do things while I have them in place. on. We're trying to do this with as much stuff as we have around, keep the cost down, and just to prove that we can. I should say that the this angle tubing here is a piece of handlebar, which has often been donated for my intake manifolds and exhaust manifolds, and it may be an exhaust manifold, an exhaust header for this too, as you can see. So, and my carburetor. I'm not going to bolt it on all the way right now, but so you can see how it goes. Stop shaking, George. There's how our carburetor will go. Let me back you up just a little bit here. And actually, of course, the motor is going to be twisted in here more. And it's got a kick to the other side a little bit, but it will go in there. I had it on here before and I had a little bit of clearance. There's our intake manifold, ready to go. Next project, we'll be making an exhaust pipe for it. And you'll see that I have not yet anchored the pull start, but I think that it's probably going to go right back. No, it's not going to go right back. It's going to go about like that, which is right in between the original mounting places. Originally, this piece here was down here. So we've moved it up halfway in between. That's so we have better access to it for pulling. And we have a clutch on here. This is going to be belt drive just because that's what I have. So we'll see how that goes. And I still got to make a motor mount. Right now I'm just sitting on a block of wood, mocking it up. And I think it's going to come up a little bit higher. So until next time, this is George, the Shade Tree Fix-It Man, and this is the Tennessee Sweet Tea. Well, hi guys and gals, it's me, George, the Shade Tree Fix-It Man, and I'm into the Goofy cart today, and you can see I have moved my chain and sprocket guard out of the way so that we can get the rest of our clutch off, which I'm going to take off right now. And let me take you down, and I'm going to show you the difference between the two clutches. There's the new one right here, and here's the original one. You can see how thin it is. And then it's not going to stand up on its own, but you can see how much thicker this one is. Let me get it up here. Look at that. You can see how much beefier it is, even crosswise as well as diameter. Now my next question is it going to change the way my sprockets line up? Yeah, and because this is bigger, is it going to make the difference? It's going to make a difference with my guard. I guess there's only one way to find out, and that's to install it and hook it up. I have the new clutch in place back in there, and it's considerably bigger than the original one, taller and thicker, and because of that my idler sprocket is not going to fit in its original place. So unfortunately, to make a mount, which will be mounted to this chain guard, I'm going to have to take this off. Take the battery out, obviously. And then, to get this off, I also have to get this piece off. And I have to take this off, and hopefully that will slide right on up. But I can't remember. It's been a while since I did it. So we'll see what happens. But I've got to be able to get that out of there so I can make a mount for the idler sprocket. And there's less slop in the chain, but there's still too much because the sprocket on the new clutch is a little bit bigger. And I got that thing finished off. I welded a washer to it so it's bolted on permanently. I forgot to bring up an acorn. I got to put a chrome acorn on that bolt. Yep. So that's where we're at with that. Won't be running it this Saturday. My daughter and her husband are moving. They're already down here, but they're moving to their new house. And so I'm going to be helping them with the move. You've met my son-in-law, the big dog. And I think you've met my daughter, Wendy. That's where we're at on the Goofy Cart. So we're working on 2 projects at once. Thanks for watching, for commenting, for subscribing, for a thumbs up, for sharing, and for all your kind comments. Bye for now.